This study of information has many disciplines that use it, and it's all just exploding.
Because I'm computer science in background, I have to learn biology. I can speak to medical doctors, and I can understand what they're talking about.
I ended up asking my dad, how do I bring these two areas together? So he said, well, what about bioinformatics?
Even before I had the right vocabulary or even knew what I was doing in terms of the right tools, I was addressing certain kinds of problems that you might describe as medical informatics type problems.
There's so many more people in nursing and the library sciences and the public health. They're all using these tools.
These systems are everywhere now. They're ubiquitous. People get really frustrated by them. There's got to be a better way.
To improve human health, statistics is essential, computer science is essential, and I think the field of biomedical informatics is essential to that process.
Hey, I really like this informatics stuff. Can I do it as a PhD bench person?
The field is very welcoming for anyone that comes from any background. We want that.
What we can do computationally with not just the basic science side, but overall with machine learning and artificial intelligence and the capabilities we now have.
I was just an undergrad taking courses in biology and computer science. I almost immediately was able to join this lab and apply both of those.
It was really cool to be able to watch people actually use what I had spent hours building and then say, wow, this works really well. That really got me energized about the power of informatics.
Biomedical informatics with all of its derivatives was really where I wanted to be.
I wanted real-world data to inform our interventions.
I enjoyed every single moment of my graduate school. Doing research for a career, it's a privilege.
The professors that I had, it was exciting to see people with this background be as excited about things like clinical decision support as I was.
I was already excited to go to a PhD program. I get to do this for 100% of my time for the next however many years.
The network and the connections and the multidisciplinary team members who are phenomenal and can help me answer questions.
You can't do this as a hobby. It can't be a side gig. You got to do it 100%.
I got to know more and more people pursuing entrepreneurial paths as a way to translate the discoveries they'd made to patients more quickly.
We'll actually have the opportunity to deploy our research into real-world applications.
The great thing about biomedical informatics is it really gives you these tools that are immediately transferable to the real world.
The most rewarding thing is when I'm in part of the team that makes a change that affects either our patients or the doctors I work with, and I hear, hey, it's easier for me to take care of my patients now.
We can improve on this. We can do this in a smarter way.
Apply what people in informatics are really good at, which is understanding health data.
The cool thing about working in the medical informatics space is that the problems actually matter.
This is the right time for biomedical informatics. We want to transform healthcare.
Grateful for the opportunity to come and talk to you today. The reason why I'm here really is that over the last 2 or 3 decades, there's been a revolution in biological data in the life sciences. Data has become more and more central to the way we do biology. The idea around Cabana is that we strengthen capacity in bioinformatics across Latin America. We've received funding from the Global Challenges Research Fund, and it's challenge-led. And so we have 3 challenges in Cabana: communicable disease, sustainable food production, and protection of biodiversity. This is the beginning of what is formally a 4-year journey, but I think will end up being a much longer journey with long-standing sustainable collaborations between the EBI and our collaborators in Latin America. I'm not sure how much a little project like Cabana can do to try and persuade funders and policymakers that science is important, but we're going to do our very best.
Traditionally, when you look at biodiversity, you have taxonomists out in the field collecting specimens and then going back to the museums and herbariums and sorting through them and trying to identify which species that is. And that's all fine, and that's never going to end. But we can do a lot with the new tools that we have available in genomics. So we working side by side with the taxonomists, we can advance the field enormously. And globally, at the rate that species are disappearing, we don't have that time. We need to do something more than that.
To produce a coffee variety, it takes 25 years at least, over 25 years. So that's a long period of time to have a new variety to take to the field. So we can reduce those times if we can somehow select plants with these new DNA technologies, sequencing technologies. If we are breeding a plant, if we are improving a plant to be more resistant, we can check if that plant has that particular resistant gene we are looking for previous to the plant being on the field. Otherwise, we will need to take the plant to the field, check it with the disease, and that takes a long time. So we can reduce those times by just checking the DNA of the plant.
So if we start with communicable diseases, now we are having a big problem because we have very resistant bacteria, and we have here a lot of diseases like malaria, dengue, chikungunya, and all these diseases. In order to really fight them, we need to understand the molecular biology behind. And genomics there is very, very important. And in order to genomics to be able to develop, we need bioinformatics.
We have to address the question of which species are out there, how these species are organized genetically in the landscape, how the gene flow happens. For doing that, the best tools available now are based on genomic data analysis, and bioinformatics, it's what transforms data into knowledge to help conserve biodiversity.
In Argentina, is like the rest of the world. I think climate change for sure is one of our biggest things we should be worried about, and how crops will face these new climate changes. The biggest impact we have is that we are now able, with these new technologies, to really identify the germplasm we have. There's huge genetic variation there that we need to explore, and when we explore that, we're better prepared for the future in terms of a new pathogen or stress condition that will arise.
In the last few years, with the advent of genomics, and that we are able to sequence people's genome and also bacteria genome and also all the parasite genomes, we are facing a new era of precision medicine. And this new era is that people are able to design a specific drugs or specific treatment or diagnosis that is specific for you, that it will work specific for you, and that is the new challenge that we have.
Big data is as important in biology as it is in any other area of life. But it's pointless just having the data. You need to be able to do things with the data. And bioinformatics enables you to access a well-organized, well-annotated, and very, very large collection of information.
Our Latin American partners know exactly what they want to use bioinformatics for, and they have some clear ideas how to do it. But a policymaker will want to know, if they invest in bioinformatics in Latin America, in view of the resource constraints that there are there, that it's going to help them to be able to make some key decisions about where to invest the taxpayers' money in that country. So we have to somehow demonstrate the value of bioinformatics for decision making.
First of all, I think worldwide, no one has enough bioinformaticians. So that's the reality for us here. We have a team of bioinformaticians, but it's not enough, because the way we approach in biodiversity research is completely shifting from what I call the analog age to the digital age, and bioinformatics is the core of this change.
The main goal is to address the underrepresentation of Latin America in the public biodatabases. and in these large genomics and bioinformatics initiatives. There's a big emphasis on transnational capability, because what we're aiming to do is build a sustainable community that, after this project is finished, will continue to engage with the international research community.
The Cabana project has these 4 components, but actually they're quite interwoven. So we have workshops in Latin America, secondments to the UK and indeed Latin America, train the trainer, so training people on how to train others in bioinformatics, and this e-learning component.
At the core of what we're doing are secondments, because they really feed all of the other training activities. These are opportunities for someone to gain in-depth training in an area of bioinformatics that's critical to their own research, and also an opportunity for us to intervene and to do train-the-trainer activities with them, so that when they go back to their home institute, they can also start to set up training programs in their home institute, then enable them to magnify the skills that they've developed amongst the research community that's local to them.
One of the challenges is around public engagement, so the civil society space and the policy space. So we can do the science, but the science needs resourcing. So the UK government has taken research funding and development funding and merged it under Global Challenge Research Fund funding. The great thing about GCRF is it actually asks you to do some science, but it also asks you to engage with scientists overseas and policy and civil society.
The idea also of our project is to show scientists as people, show the process that they go through to get their results, and provide a better understanding of what's really happening in the process of science, so people understand it better and hopefully support it more in the public sphere.
The value of science needs to be understood by the people who make the decisions about where investment goes. So we need to somehow do a little bit of advocacy and a little bit of opening up of the science in Latin America to demonstrate the value that it has for decision making, the value that it has in terms of employment, and the value it has in terms of sustaining livelihoods. I mean, if you're a smallholder in Peru or Colombia, you really can't afford your crop to go wrong because you've planted the wrong one. So there's some real issues that bioinformatics can help with. So I think some engagement around working with civil society and working with governments.
I think something like Cabana bring together a group of scientists, and that's what we need. As a group, we are stronger than as an individual, and we can approach our governments to try to make better funding, to try to listen to us, to see that what we do is important for society.
One of our main challenges in Latin America is to get together and develop all the infrastructure we need to be better societies. So projects like Cabana or other kinds of projects that are able to give us all the guidance to really get together and to know how to do it, they are really, really very important for us.
Cabana at this stage is still a young project, but it already has made an impact. I've had people from my lab go and participate in training abroad. We are programming training events in Brazil and here in the Amazon.
So my hope is that by the end of this project, we will have a critical mass of bioinformatics training initiatives in our partner countries, and some robust collaborations between the institutes participating in those. My hope is that we will have started to see more insertion of Latin American groups in some of the major bioinformatics and genomics initiatives that are going on globally.
The greatest impact we'll have is that we can change the way other scientists and the broader society in Latin America views genomics and bioinformatics. And in that sense, policymakers, of course, are something we want to have them involved and kind of see what we can deliver in the long run if we bet on bioinformatics and genomics.
Nowadays, the only way of going forward is working in a network, working with partners. So this is a nice project where we demonstrate that, because that doesn't happen too much in Latin America. So we are extremely happy that it's been successful. I think that's something wonderful that we didn't have before Cabana.
The emphasis on tapping into big data is such that you need to collaborate globally to do that. And if in some way we can contribute to Latin America participating to a greater extent in these initiatives, I will feel that we have reached the goals of Cabana.